So I think we should be starting in 20 seconds. And I
Sounds good.
still don't really know if this part goes on the broadcast, but we'll figure it out. I mean, even if it does, it's not like there's anybody who jumps in the first half second.
Yeah. Are we? We're still 3 minutes behind, right?
I think it's 30 seconds behind.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then here's our broadcast. If you want to look at that.
Nice.
So you
I
can
can hear myself.
yeah. You'll have to tell me if the audio gets weird, because if I play it on this computer, then it'll come back through on the stream.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, I will keep it. I will keep it up then.
So it should be right now.
Yep.
Uh, we have four-ish people in the lobby, and then two spectators.
I don't see anybody
You don't see anybody. What do you mean you don't see anybody?
in the stream.
Yeah.
I see 0 people.
No, not like
Oh,
in the. Yeah. It looks right. Okay. So with that, I have to put you on the spectators section,
yep.
and we should be about ready to start whenever they are. Um,
Hmm.
I don't. Okay, everybody, and welcome back to Trine University Esports CLOL coverage. This week we are against the University of Minnesota, and I have for the first time ever, I have a co-commentator here with me.
Hello. I'm Adam. I'm the co-commentator today.
Yes, I'm John. I just realized I never introduced myself. That's not good. All right, so we'll have to see if they decide to use the online draft client that they used to, because I noticed for the last couple games they didn't end up using it. If they do, we should be able to see that in just a moment. And if they don't, we might just go straight up into the draft phase. And we already have the two teams disagreeing on what the rules are. It's not good.
It'll be fine.
The last time something like this happened, it took 25 minutes to resolve, so let's hope this one's fast. Okay. It seems like Trine is just going to let it go, which is good. Um, yeah. Okay, I can try to fix that. Let's go,
I'm probably louder because I'm coming through computer, whereas you're
yeah.
coming through microphone.
Okay, so now the chart is showing we're at similar levels. Maybe I'm a little high. This should be about right. Alright, so that is audio troubleshooting on the fly. And
Figuring it out as we go.
hopefully we don't have to adjust that again. Although now I'm just watching the bars. Alright, so before we get into game here, or before we even get into the draft phase, this is where I like to talk about the players on the teams.
You beat me to it because I'm about to look them all up.
Right. So, as far as Trine's team goes, they're the same people we keep seeing week after week. Um, we've got Magic Griffin, Polyps, Barrel Rider, Hoggy, and Harv for Trine's team. And it looks like for the University of Minnesota, we have Little Chimp, Goblito, Igneous, Season 11 Crummy, and Evergreen 8. pull up stats here. I'm just looking at ranks, and I am immediately intimidated by the University of
What's that?
Minnesota. They have two Master players, a Grandmaster player, and two Diamond 1 players,
Yep.
whereas Trine's peak player is, I believe, Diamond 2 right now, possibly
Mhm.
Diamond 3.
Looks like Diamond 2.
Of course, we'll have to get in the game and see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, that's how it usually is.
I wonder if it. Have you pulled up their stats?
I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure out who is in what lane here.
So it could be a case of the TFT rank showing up in the lobbies. I know it used to do that. I'm not sure if it still does. Because some of these, like a level 73 Diamond 1 player with 20 wins, that's not impossible. Um, but it definitely implies that
I mean, it
maybe
may
it's
just be
not
an
accurate.
alternate account.
It could be an alternate account. Although I believe for tournaments they're asked to use their main accounts for scouting purposes.
Gotcha. Bum. Wait, this person just doesn't show up.
That's not good.
I can't find Igneous on op.gg.
Right. So,
I found everyone else though.
can you see if season 11 Crummy is uh, showing an accurate rank here?
Season 11 Crummy is Grandmaster.
All right. So then we can assume the rest of the team is accurate too.
Yep.
We just started the draft phase here. Very exciting stuff.
What do we expect to see from Trine?
Um, they tend to change it up week to week. Uh,
Hmm.
they've got a couple standbys that they like to do. One of which is, of course, the Caitlyn that just got banned. I've been seeing Vex ban come out of Trine a lot for some reason. I'm not sure if she's good right now or they just keep happening to go against people who play her a lot, but it's definitely a noticeable pattern. That's a Seraphine ban. I believe Magic Griffin plays Seraphine sometimes. That's another one that's just sort of permanently banned, so I haven't seen it myself.
Mhm.
A Zeri ban. Is she old enough to be legal for this tournament?
I think so.
Alright, okay. There's, of course, a 2 week ban on any new champion after their release, so I suppose we have crossed the 2 week threshold here.
According to the interwebs, Vex is the second highest tier champion in mid lane.
That would make sense.
I'm gonna guess that it has something to do with her level of disruption she's able to put out.
Yeah, yeah.
So, shouldn't be surprising to see a ban like that.
That's what we're seeing a lot here. Both teams, well, other than the Caitlyn ban, just banning uh, either players with disruptive abilities or players with mobility. Or champions, I mean.
Mhm. It's interesting to see a Zed first pick. I feel like that's a really risky first pick. Oh,
And it is not a Zed first pick.
nope. It's Felios. That would explain the Caitlyn ban too.
I believe that is a bad matchup.
It's a terrible matchup.
Although I do know Harv plays, or not Harv. Polyps is the ADC now, and he plays Caitlyn a lot.
Mm. All the more reason to ban.
Yeah. Okay, so we're seeing a focus on the bottom lane from both teams right now,
Oh,
or not.
maybe not. You're just getting baited.
So what's happening here is that both teams are taking the maximum amount of time for every pick and also changing their mind at the last minute, which is not good for my commentary. Now we are seeing focus on the bottom lane. There we go.
There we go. So we should be seeing the jungler pick and something else. We don't know enough about how their team rolls to know what they're going to try to go for early.
It looks like we might be seeing a Jarvan jungle, or this could just be another fake pick. And only time will tell in 3 seconds. Oh,
Well, there we go.
there we go.
There's the Jarvan. So we're already seeing a pretty disruptive team comp coming out from Minnesota.
Thresh is a very solid pick when you don't know who you're going to be laning against.
Very much so.
Just all around good. He's got engage, disengage, safety for his team, stuns for the enemy. We'll have to see how Trine responds.
I think we're gonna look. I think we're gonna see more of a zoning comp come out. The Ahri is a good pick against the Jarvan because of the dashes.
Right, right.
So, and she's also just very good right now. 17%, 17.5% pick rate, 52% win rate.
Definitely solid. And we're seeing the Zed ban, which we saw hovered earlier. I have to wonder if that was misdirection from University of Minnesota or accidentally showing some information they didn't mean to.
Oh, let me take a look at their mid laner.
We see the Yuumi ban. I don't believe I've ever seen Magic Griffin play Yuumi. I'm not really sure the purpose of that ban.
It's probably just to stop the Jhin from having hypermobility.
That would make sense.
Giving a Jhin the ability to play like that would be really aggressive.
And then we see the Zillion ban, which is, I suppose, for mid lane because the University of Minnesota has already picked their support. Definitely not the most common pick, but it's interesting that Trine thinks University of Minnesota might go for it. We see our final ban is a Leona coming up from University of Minnesota, trying to restrict Trine's support counter pick options.
Yeah, it's weird to see like 2.5 support bans.
Yeah, definitely a lot of focus on the bottom lane here.
I'm not sure if um, the main ideas behind that would be that either Minnesota views their bot lane as their weakest segment, or they view Trine's bot lane as the strongest segment. So
Hmm.
it'll be interesting to see how the bot lane plays.
That would line up with the ranks we discussed earlier.
Hmm.
University of Minnesota's jungler and support are both the Diamond 1 players, Vigar being, or Season 11 Crummy, currently holding the Vigar pick, being the Grandmaster player,
Grandmaster. Yep.
leaving the mid laner and top laner as their two highest ranked players. We're seeing the Graves pick here.
Yep.
I don't understand this team comp.
I think it's Vagar support, Graves mid. If you look at Goblito, he he's got 83% in 6 games on Graves.
That would make sense.
It'll be interesting to see how that fares into an Ahri pick, though.
And then we have the Gnar top lane from Trine. Sort of the standard go-to.
Yep. So we see a lot of lockdown. Oh, what? Okay, they're still moving.
Yeah, they're switching.
Yeah. Oh, I guess it's Graves top.
Okay. Well, so discussing matchups. In the bottom lane, we have Velios and Thresh versus Jhin and Nautilus. Both have sort of an aggressive slant to them. We'll have to see who that works out for. I suppose Thresh could disengage as well.
I think bot lane's definitely going to be the place to look this game, I think. With 2 very aggressive junglers and very aggressive lanes, we should see a lot of interesting play.
Right. In the middle lane, we have Vigar versus Ahri. Vigar has that late game power through his scaling abilities, whereas Ahri is more of like an assassin playstyle. Should be able to take Aphelios out of the fight if he becomes too much of a problem. Assuming, of course, that that Thresh in the bottom lane cannot successfully protect him.
In jungle, we're looking at a very aggressive matchup. Both of these champions play around the early game, the start of the game, very well. So we should be seeing a lot of action in the start of the game, especially around bot lane and possibly top lane.
And then in the top lane, I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't. I have never seen Graves top except uh, for when it loses horribly, but apparently University of Minnesota believes it can work. So we'll have to see what happens. Barrel Rider did get a little bit of a counter pick there, because Gnar has
Mhm.
longer range than Graves for most of the game, giving him a poke advantage. We'll have to see how much that even matters.
I think I think it'll be a really good advantage because Jarvan 4 doesn't have a very good engage against dashes. The usual way he gets in is not a targeted manner, so Gnar can play around it relatively safely.
Right, right.
So hopefully we should see a lot of good zoning top lane.
Definitely has potential to be a very interesting game and a very interesting match. Uh, this is the part where I always run out of things to talk about,
Yeah.
because the 3
Well,
minute spectator delay is much longer than I need to talk about matchups, or much longer than I can use to talk about matchups, rather.
um, I'm annoyed that the jungler is the only one I can't find. Oh, you know why? It might be Elgnius.
That would make sense.
Found it. Okay, now I can talk about the junglers.
For viewers at home, accounts can only have, or only one account can have each given name, so oftentimes if you want to have a name that has an I in it that's already taken, you will just use a lowercase l instead, because in most of the fonts of the game it looks exactly the same.
Yep. Um.
Anything interesting on his profile?
Oh. Well, he usually plays Hecarim, so that would explain the Hecarim ban.
Right.
Um. Hecarim, Kha'Zix, Cho'Gath, Lee Sin. It's interesting to see the Jarvan pick then, because that seems a little out of the wheelhouse. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a pocket pick.
That would make sense.
Looks like we're headed in game. I think with team comps like this, we should expect to see an early game invade on one side.
I believe Trine was discussing that before the game. I thought I overheard something like that. Although, maybe University of Minnesota will take the initiative and do it to them. Alright, so,
Looks like we're in game.
talking about starting items. In the bottom lane, we have the sort of standard start. Longsword has become more prevalent as the defensive stats from the Doran's items stop mattering so much in the
Yeah.
current meta. In the mid lane, we both players have chosen to take the generic mage extra mana item as expected, and in the top lane we have Gnar taking the defensive or more defensive choice of the Doran's blade as compared to the Graves who took a longsword.
I think it's really interesting to see the jungler, what the junglers picked as well. Seeing Ember Knife from Jarvan means he is looking for more longer fights. We're probably not going to see an assassin build on him with something like that.
Right, right. Well, neither team decided to invade,
Yep.
which means
Apparently.
we have a little while of just
Mm.
waiting for the game to officially start. We had a little bit of a fight over some wards in the river there, but
Hey, you want to turn around real quick? I want to show you something cool.
right.
Oh, there it goes.
That's not good. Okay, we're having technical issues on one of the computers, but it
That's
should
fine.
not stop us being able to broadcast this game to you all.
All right, I think I got it.
We have Xin Zhao starting at his red buff, and Jarvan starting his blue buff, and then in the bottom lane we are having an immediate fight. That is very
Yeah.
interesting. Okay. Well, neither team really got anything major out of that, except half health on one player for each team. I was going to talk about the jungle starts, but I think that it's kind of self-explanatory. They both decided to start in their top lane.
Yeah, it's pretty common. I think what's interesting though. Oh,
Okay,
hey, there's first blood already.
that is an immediate first blood by an aggressive flash from Jin, leading to a kill on Nautilus by Thresh, and then it looks like we might see a second
Hey,
kill
there
from
we go.
Jin.
That's 2 kills for the bot lane.
Very exciting stuff for the early game.
I think it's really interesting that Trine is elected to go buff in the jungle, whereas Minnesota is not doing that. They're going for a full clear. So I think that usually tends to mean that Trine is going to be looking for more early action. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that.
It looks to me like Jarvan is attempting to rush to level 6 in order to be more effective at ganking, whereas...
Well, there's that delayed invade we were talking about.
Alright, and it's not going to result in anything,
No action.
unfortunately. And then in the top lane, we're having Gnar being slowly pushed under tower by the Graves.
Yep.
We haven't seen a lot of action up here yet,
Yep.
so I'm not
Graves
really
has a lot
sure
of
what's
early
happening.
game pushing power because of his passive.
Okay. And then in the bottom lane, we're not seeing any more of that crazy aggression from earlier.
No, we shouldn't. I think they're gonna. I think Minnesota's gonna just try to aim for late game in the bot lane now.
Jin is a little bit behind on CS at the moment. I think
Yeah.
as a result of having to back off after those 2 kills. Although those items means that if there was a fight between the 2 teams, Trine would most likely win at the moment.
hmm We're seeing a pretty big CS differential top lane as well. CS being minion count, and that's to be expected. Graves is a very good champion at farming, but it may be difficult for Gnar to keep ahead later on.
On the other hand, Gnar doesn't necessarily need farm as badly as Graves does.
This is true.
Just having a bunch of stuns means that you can sort of afford to not do as much damage and still be helpful to your team. In the middle lane, we are just seeing poking back and forth. Harv on Ahri decided to take Ignite, which signals sort of a more aggressive game plan, whereas Goblito on Vigar attempted to pick, or decided to pick Teleport in order to keep sort of a global presence and play the late game.
Yeah, Veigar is definitely not a champion that's looking for action early on.
And then something interesting about the summoner spells in the bottom lane is that Polyps took Cleanse rather than Heal in an attempt to prevent Thresh from being able to stop him from fighting in major teamfights later down the line. That does mean that in the early game he should have a little bit less pressure, although those 2 early kills means that he's
Yeah.
made up that difference already.
Oh, for sure.
At the moment, the teams are exactly even in terms of gold. 8.7k to 8.7k. That's very interesting. Normally, even this early, as when one person gets so many kills, you can see a difference. But as we're mentioning, University of Minnesota is generally out farming Trine at the moment.
Well, that's to be expected with the rank differential, so it's gonna be a lot about how well they coalesce as a team.
It looks like we're seeing an early dragon from Trine here. Jarvan is around in the bottom lane, although I'm not sure they have vision. Looks like Trine is just going to get it without any sort of problem.
Yep. We saw an attempt at an engage, but Nautilus was able to get away.
Alright. So, every once in a while, when it cuts back to the top lane, we're seeing that the sort of poking game that's happening up there is roughly even for the 2 of them, which is a little strange to me. Seeing that Graves is building damage right... Oh, and we're seeing a major engage in the top lane, which will not turn into anything, unfortunately. That was a Gnar ultimate. followed by both players just sort of backing off.
Yep. I think he's just trying to push him out of the lane, so he can do a bit of catch up.
That would make sense.
It is worthwhile noting that Evergreen did use teleport
Yes.
to get back to the lane earlier,
Right.
and Nar did not.
So that could mean that we see some pushing here, or we might just see Nar push the wave into the tower so as to deny it from Evergreen. We might see a tower plating here too for the Gnar, which would definitely put him in the lead in the lane. In the middle lane, we are seeing an engage, manages to get Completo's flash out. No, the fight just sort of stops when Vygar manages to lay down his cage and walk away.
Taking that mobility off of Vhagar is very important, though.
This is true. We're seeing.
So that means until flashes up.
Oh, we're seeing
hello.
another engage in the bottom lane. 3 people on the
Ooh.
Vygar who does not have flash. It's going to be a kill for Trine.
Ooh! Look at that. They're really laying down this early game pressure.
I think they are showing that they very much understand their role in this game. And in the top lane, we have a solo kill on the Gnar from the Graves. Generally unfortunate. It was a little bit of an even fight, but Graves having access to his ultimate and Gnar being in an untransformed state could not really contest it all too well.
Yep.
So, the next dragon... How do I check that? Well, the next dragon should be up in 2 minutes. Someone just pinged it for me. Thank you very much.
How fortuitous.
Yeah, they can't hear me, but I was about to say something inaccurate, because I was just going to guess 3 minutes. It's going to be in, well, 2 minutes from then, so probably a minute 30 from now. We'll see if Trine plays around it immediately, like they did with the Fire Dragon. Although Fire, of course, being the most important dragon, has a little bit more of a priority on it.
They got a Cloud Drake first, Drake.
They got a Cloud Drake?
It's at the top.
What was I watching? Okay. We are, we're doing fine here. It looks like University of Minnesota looking to take Rift Herald right now. And then the bottom lane, a completely separate engage that will leave Nautilus slightly injured and Trine down 2 wards as University of Minnesota takes Rift Herald. It looks like completely uncontested.
Yep.
University of Minnesota definitely playing for a vision advantage here. How many control wards they have down at the moment. And then in the bottom lane, we're seeing an attempted engage. It looks like... Oh. University of Minnesota going to turn it around. Almost kill Ahri. Barely escaping with her life. They managed to make it under tower before Nautilus managed to land out.
Looks like we've got 4 people bot lane.
Yes, looks like this is going to turn into one of the first major team fights of the game. Or Xin Zhao is going to get killed alone. One of the two. Alright. Well, oh, and we see the ultimate come up from Jarvan, which is going to lead to another kill for University of Minnesota. A double kill for Vygar. Definitely seeing some strong team play there. Rotating down with the perfect timing to counter gank, following Ahri's appearance to the bottom lane. Definitely going to pay off.
They were set up in a very good spot for it, too.
University of Minnesota now at a around 1,000 gold lead, which it looks like Graves is very intent on growing while he can.
Graves is pulling what I'd call a soul farm. He is definitely focused solely on farming up and waiting until late game.
Right. So, the next dragon is Earth Dragon that is bonus armor and magic resist for either team who takes it. Not a huge priority. Then again, neither is Cloud Dragon. And we saw Trine rush that one down.
Mm. Gambling on an early soul is definitely a move.
Right. It looks like University of Minnesota is going to form up around it, perhaps in preparation for trying to take it. Although Trine does have vision of them at the moment.
Both top laners are down teleport as well.
It looks like Trine is preparing to fight. University of Minnesota not reacting in time. It's going to be a kill for Trine.
Look at that.
And possibly... No.
That's 2 flashes.
Oh, we saw a flash and a heal come out from Aphelios. He's going to die anyway to the Ahri, leaving Trine with that 2-0 and a dragon and up on summoner spells. Definitely unfortunate for University of Minnesota.
Well, there's the Inferno Drake you called earlier.
Yes, I was seeing the future, because the soul for this game will be the Inferno Soul. That, of course, is one of the stronger souls. I believe it's tied with... Well, Chemtech has been removed, so I think it might just be the strongest one. Going to be very important for both teams to play around the bottom lane for the foreseeable future, until either Trine gets 2 more dragons or University of Minnesota gets 4 in a row. We're seeing everyone sort of return to a neutral position at the moment, so this would be a good time to talk about mythic items.
The Ever
or
Frost.
we'll just see an engage in the top lane. Almost killing the Gnar, manages to escape with his life, doesn't have to give up any summoner spells. And it looks like both teams are sort of forming up around the top lane here, which is going to be
there he goes.
Kill and a tower for University of Minnesota. Can you check the stream for a sec?
Yep. What's up? It is black.
It is black? Oh my god. That's terrible.
Are you in full screen mode?
Yes. Oh,
You may have to be in borderless.
we have a capture for this. All right. Very sorry, folks. It looks like we have not been doing anything the entire time. How's... Shoot. Alright, I'll set up a new capture right now for game. And that is 15 minutes. Wow. Simply incredible work.
Are you in the right capture?
It should be working now, and it will update on the screen in 30 seconds.
Yep.
It's things like these that make you just want to quit doing this. In the bottom lane, we're seeing a fight. Vigar showing up. I hope my descriptions have been effectual enough for you all to sort of understand what's been happening. Very sorry about that. It's a team fight in the bottom lane after a gank from Vigar, which is going to leave University of Minnesota down 2 players. And Trine
there's the shutdown on Ahri.
down 2 players. Okay. Well. Oh, we're seeing a flash ultimate from Jarvan, which is going to lead to a double kill, putting University of Minnesota firmly in the lead.
Yep. All right, you're good now. The stream is running.
All right. I don't know. I don't know what to say now. That is.
It's okay.
That's really funny, and also terrible. I'm very sorry for our audience, who has been listening to me ramble about a game that they can't see for the past 15 minutes.
Well, that's why I'm here.
Okay, so
Well, coming off of that, with John still in a stupor here, what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of people coalesce mid lane, and the mid laners bot lane.
I right, they're all
Are
sort
you?
of playing around the mid lane at the moment. We're seeing an
Oh, hey,
engage
there's an
from
engage.
Trine, except University of Minnesota
There's
ready
no
with
one
the
else
counter.
there.
Uh,
There's the teleport from
teleport
Gnar.
from the Gnar, although he did take half of his health in tower damage while teleporting, which is unfortunate.
Are we gonna see a Trinity Force from Gnar?
Yes, back to mythic items. So, Trinity Force would be a little bit of a strange choice from my perspective. Uh,
Well, this is post nerfs, right? For the other one.
yeah,
Okay.
they have made the other one weaker, but it is definitely an aggressive choice, which I'm not sure is Trine's role at the moment, or Nar's role on Trine's team, at least. We're seeing Gore Drinker from both junglers. It's just sort of generally strong for champions who want to be up close with their opponents, which both of them do. In the middle lane, we saw Vigar take Everfrost for additional crowd control, and Ahri take Ludens for additional damage. And in the bottom lane, we saw both players take Gale Force for additional mobility to hopefully avoid being blown up by either team's assassins. In the bottom lane, we are seeing a fight between Ahri and Graves. It's going to leave Ahri a little bit overextended to get engaged on by Jarvan, although Xin Zhao is there for the save, leading to a kill on
Very
Jarvan
nice.
for Ahri.
Very nice.
As a textbook kind of play.
A good bait.
Exactly. Well, I suppose neither team was really planning for that to happen,
Mm-hmm.
but can't deny that the result was visually interesting, which is the goal. Alright. Top lane, Graves has a farm advantage of 26.
Which is about 2 kills for our viewers at home.
Right. In the mid lane is our other major advantage, which is Vigar with 12, quickly being caught up by Ahri. And in the bottom lane, it's roughly even. Jungle, it's roughly even. And support farm numbers don't really tend to make sense anyway.
Well, I will say that Trine does have the advantage in the bottom lane with 3 extra kills on the ADC.
That will be helpful depending on how the game goes from here. If Vigar continues this sort of snowball he started, it might be very rough for Polyps to even approach the fight in the future.
Right.
At that point, any number of kills would not help so much as simply being able to sneak up on the other team.
All about the angles.
Both teams sort of forming up around mid lane here. Again, University of Minnesota, it looks like is playing around the bottom lane, whereas Trine is playing on the top side of the map. I believe University of Minnesota is going for a tower here, whereas Trine is playing around Baron. That's what that means. Although, Gnar possibly able to stop Graves from pushing. In the middle lane, see Trine get a tower practically for free. Or literally for free. At some point while I was distracted, it looks like University of Minnesota took the first Infernal Drake of the game.
Well, that was a while ago.
Thank you.
No problem. We talked about it.
Did we?
Yeah. Well, the next one's up in 119, so it's another way for trying to go to get ahead.
Every time I talk about dragons, somebody pings it. Great. It's very helpful. I don't think from the spectator client I can see the timer on it.
There has to be a way.
At this point, I just don't want to touch any more buttons. Okay, in the bottom lane, looks like Gnar going for an engage onto Graves. Counter-engaged by Minnesota's jungler and support, leaving to Barrel Rider having to flash out and possibly escape? Yes,
Well, he'll be fine.
he will escape with his life.
He's got Piper. He's speedy.
And then in the
Oh,
top
that
lane,
was
we're
smooth.
seeing
There's
a
a Veigar pick.
surprise engage onto Veigar, leaving Trine up a player for the moment as Barrel Rider teleports into the mid lane. Looks like they might try to force a fight, play around Baron. Or they will continue
Dragon.
standing around, looking at each other.
Oh, they're going for Dragon.
Every second they wait for Dragon is another second closer to Veigar coming back, and he does have teleport up, so we'll have to see how Trine chooses to play this.
You may see a team fight here.
Alright. Trine not really in a position to team fight, and Veigar is back, so it is going to be a 5-on-5 if it happens at all.
Ari had also backed, so we're definitely seeing sort of this regrowth and re-preparation.
Ari in the mid lane right now, with Trine relying on her as a distraction in order to try to take Dragon. Minnesota's jungler far away from the Dragon, and Trine will get it without much trouble, although it looks like it looks like Gnar will die here, yes.
Yeah.
That is Trine's third Dragon, so University of Minnesota in the future needs to play much more aggressively around dragons, lest Trine end up with the Dragon Soul and a major advantage.
Especially with a team comp like this.
Yes, when they're focused around poke and burst, Infernal Soul is one of the best things they can have.
Looks like Minnesota's just going for Baron right now.
They're going to get it uncontested, as Trine is down a player, they are not. Definitely a trade there in extending so much for the Dragon. Trine left themselves in a position where Baron was practically free. But on the other hand, Dragon might be more important than Baron in this position, because Baron does run
for sure.
out.
We're probably going to see a 1-3-1, where they send one person top lane, 3 people mid lane, and 1 person bot lane. Mostly because when you have Baron, you want to stay in lanes as much as possible. Oh, or we're just going to see all everyone here.
Yes, it looks like going to have
Pick on Sinzhou.
everyone in the middle lane, with Trine losing a player. This could lead to a major push for University of Minnesota. 1 tower at least.
Yep.
Depending on when Gnar gets here and what form he's in, it might turn into 2 towers. Trine lacking their jungler at the moment makes them reluctant to fight, which University of Minnesota, it seems to be capitalizing on. We're seeing very limited interaction here.
Yep.
Just looking for damage on tower. Looks like University of Minnesota is going to back off. As
Just a slow push.
right, they're slowly being ground out of resources here, especially with Thresh at low health. In the jungle, we are seeing an engage by the Nautilus, which is going
Full team.
to turn into an ultimate onto Jhin, and a kill on Jarvan, and then in the corner of the screen there, apparently Harv managed to sneak around behind Aphelios and get another kill for Trine, leading immediately to his demise, followed by a second kill for Graves. It's an unfortunate position for Trine.
Yep.
Definitely not.
That Graves is putting in a lot of work.
Yes, yes, I believe that's a lot. That's where a lot of the power on the team is concentrated right now.
He's 4-0 with the highest amount of minion kills in the game.
And University of Minnesota is on a 4,000 gold lead. Definitely not preferential for Trine, but
Yep.
there's no reason they shouldn't be able to come back into this. They managed to start playing to their outs and focusing most likely on dragons above everything else, including towers.
Yep.
The amount of raw stats that they've gotten from dragons at this point rivals the gold lead that University of Minnesota has put together.
It is still dangerous. That does equate to about 1,000 gold per player.
Yes. We're seeing in the bottom lane, or from the original bottom laners, the Falios steadily out farming Jin, and from the top laners, Graves 40 CS ahead of Gnar.
We are, however, seeing that in a lot of fights, Aphelios is one of the first people to get picked.
Yes. Oh, we're seeing an engage on the Trine. Looks like they aren't prepared to respond. It's going to turn into a team fight where Trine loses 2 of their players for nothing in return. Oh, for a tower in the top lane in return. Excuse me. It looks like Gnar is split pushing at the moment.
I think he's going for a second one.
He might go for inhibitor even, depending on how Trine manages to distract University of Minnesota. The dragon is up. Trine cannot contest it. It looks like University of Minnesota is going to get this one for free. Vigar able to teleport into the bottom lane to contest the Gnar push, but Trine losing steadily their players in the bottom lane, which might lead to more towers down from Trine in the future. And Gnar did manage to take down the inhibitor on his own, even with Vigar contesting it. Definitely a powerful play. Although, when all is said and done, that does leave Minnesota around 2,000 gold further in the lead than they were before.
I don't know about you, but I'm definitely expecting a Graves ban next game.
Yes, I would say that's a fair assessment.
One of us has to point out the obvious things.
Yep. Alright, we're seeing a fight in the top lane between bottom laners and Gnar. Nobody's going to die yet, although Gnar will have to flash away. And Aphelios will be saved at the last minute by Thresh's lantern from far away. There aren't objectives up at the moment to play around, other than towers. It looks like Baron spawning. So, we will see both teams sort of coalesce around the top lane here in a moment.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting because Trine has a lot of priority on the top side.
Yeah, with the inhibitor down, there's definitely a lot of pressure on University of Minnesota at the moment.
Yep.
And it looks like Trine is capitalizing on that and trying to get a vision advantage around Baron. Successfully.
Yep.
With Gnar in the bottom lane, split pushing again.
I think Gnar split pushing right now is kind of a dangerous game for Trine. Because they're going to have to give another Baron now, and they're just kind of sitting there.
Alright, but we will see an engage on the Thresh here. It might turn into a kill for Trine. Trine almost able to steal the Baron. It didn't end up working out. Thresh able to escape with his life. It's definitely unfortunate for Trine. Although Trine harassing University of Minnesota into not being able to back for the moment, which allows Gnar to get another tower.
Yeah, I think right now they've definitely been trying to just keep Minnesota from taking objectives.
Oh, I just noticed Gnar has Hull Breacher. So it looks like the
Yeah.
game plan really is to just sort of split push constantly
Yep.
and take advantage of University of Minnesota not being able to split their attention as effectively as they might otherwise like. Seeing that their main lead is on exclusively the top laner and mid laner. They'll have to choose to give up either team fighting with the other four members of Trine's team or responding to Barrel Rider's incessant pushing. Okay. Jin still at 5-1 as far as kills and deaths go. That is a very strong performance considering how much attention has been on him this game from
Oh, for sure.
not only the Jarvan but also the Vigar and even the Graves ults here and there have been aimed at him.
It's even more interesting because the team doesn't have a lot of like innate protection for him, besides just locking someone down. You know.
Right.
So that's some astounding playing to keep your lead like that.
Of course, now he is 60 gold down in farm, which is negative for Trine.
Yeah.
Graves able to get another kill there as Minnesota picks off Nautilus. It looks like they're going to attempt to push bottom lane right now, which Gnar has noticed and is attempting to capitalize on by going back to the top lane.
Yep.
Definitely going to be some exciting stuff here.
And let's see. Graves and Vagar do both have teleport, so I'm interested to see how they respond.
It looks like they're sending Aphelios and Graves to go deal with Gnar in their base, which does leave Trine's inhibitor alive for the moment. And Jarvan for Minnesota starting Dragon on his own. And a fight in the jungle, which will leave Trine's jungler at very low health. And it looks like there's going to be Minnesota taking the dragon, 2 kills for Trine. And a teleport comes out from Gnar to come help out in the fight here.
And there's a kill for Graves.
Oh, and a kill for Graves. Just throwing out an ultimate to the middle of all that
Yep.
chaos and hitting a low health target. Alright. Graves has not died a single time. I just realized. That is...
Yeah, he's working hard.
That means that if Trine does manage to take him down, they will get a 700 gold bounty, which, if that were to go onto the likes of Ahri or Jhin, might push Trine back into the lead. Aphelios with a 350 gold farm bounty, just from farming really well. Definitely proof of some solid play there, though that means that the next time he dies, it will be even more impactful.
Yep.
Assuming there is a next time, I suppose he could just not die for the rest of the game. That would not come into play. Still only at 1 kill with 6 assists. Definitely not a crazy amount of participation at the moment. Both teams playing around mid lane again, except for Graves and Gnar in the bottom lane. And Jhin pushing out the top wave. It looks like they're playing around Baron, although Baron is not up and will not be up very soon.
Yep.
In the bottom lane, you see a fight that Gnar just simply chooses to walk away from.
Oh, would you want to fight that Graves?
Definitely not.
Exactly.
But I do want to see other people try to fight that Graves.
Fair enough. He's got a collector now.
Definitely going all in on the damage here.
Yep.
If he manages to get access to Xin Zhao, Jhin, Ahri, or Even Gnar, when Gnar does not have the jump ability up, we might see some very quick deaths for Trine. I don't understand this positioning. I don't know what Minnesota are playing around at the moment. None of them are farming or getting any advantage by staying up there.
I think they're waiting for.
Oh,
Yep, there's Baron.
and here we go. For some reason, the hourglass icon, signifying that it was going to spawn soon, did not appear for me. Although, all that playing around the top lane did help, as Minnesota are able to take their third Baron of the game without even a fight from Trine. Vigar overextending here.
Ooh.
It's going to turn into a kill
Yep,
for Trine on one of Minnesota's major carries. With Graves in the bottom lane, not rotating up with Gnar, this could turn into a situation for Minnesota. Trine will most likely get even. That's one tower for free. Let's see if we can get another. And Gnar sort of baited into jumping in, going to die quickly. Followed by Xin Zhao trying to follow up, also dying quickly. And Jin as well, leading to a triple kill for Aphelios.
And a quadra kill for Aphelios.
A quadra kill for Aphelios, and an ace on Trine. With Graves already pushing in the top lane, we might see the game end here pretty quickly.
Yep.
Definitely some solid play from Minnesota all around.
Oh, for sure.
Even with a early disadvantage in the bottom lane, they managed to keep their heads and work it out, leading to a victory for Game 1.
I think Trine was able to stay parlay in the early game, but by the late game they were behind. It'll be interesting to see how they adapt.
All right. Sorry for that. The display capture is not working very well for me. There we go. Great.
I am gonna hold the stream open until we're in game, just to make sure that we get in game.
That would be very helpful. Thank you.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
All right. So for a recap of the game.
We saw a very good early game from Trine. They weren't, however, able to taper that off into a late game lead. So I think that they're gonna have to focus around playing around bot lane more and taking a bit more initiative. Giving all the barons and dragons was very, very unhelpful, to be redundant and say the obvious thing.
I think the biggest problem Trine faced there was just generally being out-farmed for much of the game. We'll have to see how they look to fix that in the future, whether that's by playing more poke so that Minnesota can't farm so easily, or by playing less poke, playing less interactively, and farming more themselves. Both are definitely viable options. For gold values in this end screen here, we can see that Graves blew everyone else out of the water.
Yeah.
I would.
Hey, make sure you get in. Thanks.
Yeah, I would be very surprised to not see a Graves ban here.
For sure.
Perhaps even an Aphelios ban, as that pick did end up working out very well for them.
I don't know. I wasn't wowed by the Aphelios. I think he was good, but he wasn't doing much for most of the game. But you know what? They won, so I guess I can't really, like, say much, but we'll see.
while we wait for the next game to start, now would be a great time for anyone at home to uh, take a bathroom break, drinks, snacks. We're not going to be saying very much important stuff until the next draft phase. Um, it looks like Trine has decided to go onto the red side again, which is a little strange. Generally, people prefer the blue side. So, we'll have to try to figure out what they're hoping to achieve with that. Although, ultimately, the difference in win rates between each side is somewhere in the realm of 0.1%. I'm not sure it's the most impactful choice in the world. It does mean that Minnesota will get first pick again. Uh, so if they manage to properly capitalize on that, it could spell trouble for Trine. Although Trine, of course, will get more counter picks. So we'll have to see if that plays into their strategy for drafting at all. It looks like both teams are fully here.
I guess it's about time to get into Ben.
Draft phase, game 2.
Vagar is a counter for Ari, huh?
I suppose so. I don't really know mid lane matchups that well.
Me neither.
I would imagine it would be very helpful to have that stun zone if Ari
Yep.
were to attempt to run you down.
Yeah. How do you feel about the fact that a Mumu doesn't have enough sample size for any data?
Amumu has fallen out of the meta completely.
Mumu has fallen out of the game.
Amumu has fallen out of the game completely, which I would say is a net positive for the game. That champion does a lot when he's good,
He is very annoying when he is good.
especially with the change to give him 2 charges on his Q.
Which is a dash. That's shaped like a bandage.
Which is a dash and a stun, and the mobility, and just generally very. It can be a lot of damage too, actually. I think the ratio on it is something like 70-80%.
Yep.
With which with 2 charges and an 80% ratio and a stun, it can lead to very quick kills.
Yep. I really like just lurking in this game, you know? Like, we're just kind of here.
Yep.
Also, did you know I'm Mastery 4 Lee Sin?
Truly, this is content.
I don't know. Just outside of what I usually play.
While we're waiting here, since we're scraping,
Who's your favorite League of Legends champion, John?
since we're
Who's your
scraping the
favorite?
bottom of the barrel, um,
Who's your favorite champion to play?
I'll talk about how Zeri has a good design, in my opinion.
Go ahead.
Uh,
You have the floor.
it's more interesting for
What do you mean?
ADCs to just push the Q button than to push the right-click button. It's basically the same, but it feels better. And they really did pick that up very well.
Okay.
Oh, thank
Uh,
God.
ban one from Trine is going to be Graves.
We'll have to see. Nope.
Nope, never mind.
So far, the same bans as the first game.
There's the Ari ban. I wasn't expecting that one.
Okay.
Graves. Graves.
Trine has two more bans, and they chose to do the same ban as last game.
Okay.
And the third ban
Graves.
from Minnesota is the same as last game, and let's see.
Well, the Ari's at least different.
The Ari. Yep. That's something we can talk
Graves.
about. Was Ari good enough in the last game to deserve a ban?
I think it just means that the mid laner doesn't have to play Veigar again. There
Okay,
it
there's the
is.
ban. Alright.
Alright.
And the immediate Aphelios pick, or we will wait here for 17 seconds and they will pick something else. No, yes, thank you. Trine, talking over their picks, thinking it through,
And then probably picking the same champion.
and making us spend more time in the draft phase. Oh no!
No, it's
That is a
new.
completely new champion.
Look at that.
Did not appear in the last game. Oh,
Hey, there's the Jinx.
it looks like Trine is going to pick an entirely new comp and see if that works better for them.
I think Jin lacked the sort of carry potential that bot lane usually has. Jin tends to be considered more of like a utility carry, as opposed to just having damage, and they desperately needed that damage on the carry last game.
On the other hand, Jinx does have a lot less safety.
Yes.
To see if that.
So, are we expecting an Enchanter bot lane? Hey, there's the Zed. Do it. Do it.
No, in 17 seconds that will be a Jarvan.
I don't know. Unless they're just like being silly, you know.
Oh, sweet Neptune. Okay, well, that was not their pick last game, but Minnesota is picking all champions that appeared in the last game
Yep.
so far. Whereas Trine will waste another 30 seconds.
There's a Lulu.
They're just going to pick an entirely new comp. Lulu,
My question is that Lulu going top or bot?
I have to assume it's support because she's pretty good in that. And also, if it's Lulu top, I don't think I will survive it.
Yasuo.
I don't think Trine plays Yasuo.
Does Harv play Yasuo?
We're seeing a Vigar ban here, totally understandable.
That cage did a lot of work.
Yes.
I don't see any Yasuo. Oh wait, that was 4 days ago.
Trine taking the absolute maximum amount of time to decide to ban Victor.
Interesting. So I guess they're trying to get the mid laner off control mages. Oh, it's my favorite champion.
We see the Gwen ban.
I'm sad.
Okay. Tom Kench?
Yo.
And we are
Alright.
unloading the toad here.
Unclogging the frog.
Trine Universe, unbench the Kench. Here we are. Uh, this would have been inconceivable only a season ago.
We are making a wish for the catfish. Okay, I'm out of funny jokes.
He's fun to watch. He's very slimy and interesting.
He is. He's also incredibly boring to watch. Fiora?
Fiora.
What?
That is
What?
out of left field.
What are these top lane picks? I'm really here for this.
Well, we might see Fiora support, because this team has proven to me that I cannot predict what they're going to do.
So I'm gonna guess that's Tom Kench top. I think you're right with the Lulu bottom. Oh yeah, I love watching Oriana.
Taking even more time than they were apparently allowed to, as it stalls on 0 for a solid 2 seconds. Trine deciding this last pick very carefully. And that is a Tristana, which is mid lane, presumably.
Are you telling me it's not Tristana jungle?
I hope it's not.
It's not. I see they're one away from getting the Yordle bonus.
For anybody who has no idea what he's talking about, that is a joke about a different game, which is very topical and cool.
It's within the same game. It's the same game, different game.
Alright. For matchups, in the top lane, Fiora is probably,
It's dashy.
yes, in the early game at least, going to bully Tom Kench a little bit. In the jungle, as we saw last game, Xin Zhao, very aggressive pick. Diana, another very aggressive pick. In the mid lane, it looks like Oriana is going to try to farm, while Tristana repeatedly attempts to kill her. And in the bottom lane, we have the exact same lineup from Minnesota against Jinx and Lulu, which are,
We'll be right back.
right, Jinx and Lulu, of course, being broadly less aggressive than Jhin and Nautilus, so we might not see any of those early game plays we've seen, or we saw in the last game. So, before we go into game this time, I will put several precautions in place to make sure that I don't end up broadcasting a black screen. Actually, this is terrible. Looking at this stream, I think this is the most viewers I've ever had when broadcasting League of Legends. And this is the stream that was genuinely just terrible. That is unfortunate. So, like we mentioned earlier, Chemtech Dragon has been temporarily disabled, which was one of the major changes for this season. So broadly, they're playing the same season as they're playing the same game as last season, except with the addition of the possible Hextech Drake and some minor changes to items and to champions. I do not understand Minnesota choosing to be represented by a player whose in-game name is Season 11 Crummy. That's just gives off some weird energy, I think. I cannot. I don't think they can hear you. For some reason, you weren't.
Sorry, I was muted.
All right.
We're really going down the list of topics we can talk about, huh?
Well, we have another 24 seconds of absolutely nothing happening.
And then another minute of absolutely nothing happening.
This is riveting gameplay at its finest.
Yes, sir. I just swapped chairs.
Is this chair better?
Well, the other one didn't lean back, so I think it's gonna take a lot for this chair not to be better.
Okay, I am pulling up the stream on my phone now.
Oh, I mean, I can just pull it up as well. Are you serious? Can this one also not lean back? Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, that's better.
There we go. We have visual contact.
We have a map, and in 10 seconds we'll see if we have a map on screen.
We should. I just fixed it myself.
Nice.
Let's pop out the items there. Alright. Pretty much the same starting items as last game, except the top
It's
lane.
gone.
What?
We got a black screen again.
No, we don't. Give it a second. Give it a second, it should work.
What if it doesn't?
God damn it. Ah, there we go! Yeah, we did it!
Nice. In 5 seconds, I'll.
Okay, so while we were adjusting that, Diana jumped on by Xin Zhao, having to flash out.
Yep. Whoops.
Unfortunate for Trine's early game prospects.
Minions have spawned.
Although, that flash, although it seemed excessive, is definitely better than Trine
Losing her
giving
life.
up a kill immediately.
Correct.
So they'll just have to cut their losses and play around it.
The Guardian Lulu's very interesting. She's going Guardian heal.
Right. I think they're trying to keep defensive against Thresh and Aphelios. They do not
Yep.
get an early lead.
Yep. We see the cleanse again on from Trine's side.
I didn't notice that being super impactful last game. Although,
I don't know.
they must have gotten what they wanted out of it, so they're running it back.
I'm really curious to see what mid lane what happens in mid lane.
I just want to watch the funny catfish man. But it never cuts
So
to
you-
top lane because nothing ever happens there.
Yep. No, unless we get a kill top lane. Or they get a kill top lane, I guess.
In the middle lane, we are seeing
Farming.
farming, Harv pushing out. In the top lane, we are seeing farming and neither player pushing out. And in the bottom
Oh,
lane,
we're seeing Fiora
we are seeing
punch.
farming and Thresh and Aphelios pushing out. Truly, a $7 billion esport.
No need to be cynical, John.
It's times like these that we have to recognize.
I don't know. I think the Fiora with Grasp is really weird.
To me, that means that they are not going to go for kills, more just poking Tom Kench out of lane and pushing.
I think they're going to take Barrel Rider's strategy from last game of just always split push and never be around.
And the Cull purchase definitely implies that that's true.
Yep.
We are right about to be able to see what the first dragon of the game will be. And from that information, I will tell the audience what the soul will be by misremembering what has happened.
Ooh, I love faceless claims with John.
Alright, so. Not so much happening.
Nope.
Minnesota
pretty
already pulling ahead on farm, though.
Yep.
Trine's gotta watch out for
A
that.
lot more than last game, too.
Especially so early.
Top and bot lane are the biggest places where we're seeing that.
Here we see Minnesota
Nope,
hiding in bushes,
they're going for it.
able to surprise Lulu. Very nearly kill her, although will escape.
Is able to get away.
Trine will attempt to turn it around, except both teams will
Oop.
just end up disengaging at low health. It looks like Lulu is pinging the summoner spells that happened in that fight, except her pings are incorrect. She is implying, or he is implying to his team that Aphelios no longer has summoner spells, which is not true, as we can see. If Trine attempts to capitalize on that information,
They're going to get punished.
it could be very bad for them. So the first
Yes.
dragon we have seen is Hextech,
Hey!
with the understanding that dragons that have already appeared cannot be the soul.
Alright, make your claim.
I have a 1 in 4 chance of getting it correct. So I will tell you that I believe that Earth Dragon will appear this game as the third dragon, and every dragon thereafter.
I'm gonna say Ocean Dragon. I just have a feeling.
If you want my real prediction, wait until I've forgotten what dragon has been taken, and then ask me what dragon's been taken.
Oh, you're right, you're right, you're right.
Hextech, of course, gives bonus movement speed and attack speed. No, bonus attack speed and cooldown reduction to the team that takes it. That's sort of moderately important as far as dragons go. More important than, say, Cloud and Earth, but less important than Ocean and Fire. And Hextech, if that were an option. Chemtech. By mistake. In the middle lane, we're seeing an engage by Harv onto Orianna. We'll just leave with both teams at low health. It looks like Minnesota was attempting to take the dragon there for a moment, but Diana caught them, very nearly killed Minnesota's jungler. In the mid lane, we saw a second engage gone wrong, leading to first blood for Orianna and a dragon for Trine. Harv getting a little bit over aggressive there, using both of his summoner spells, and then not managing to finish the job. In the top lane, they're just going back and forth, poking each other, as is to be expected. They both have a lot of innate healing, so it's not really sticking too well on either of them. Except now we're seeing a major engage, an ultimate by Fiora, so Tom Kench will simply just dash away. It looks like Xin was attempting to follow up and get a kill, nearly to almost getting killed himself, although Tom Kench not able to finish the job.
The Kench has been unbenched. I'm a big fan.
At 8 minutes into the game, we have a 800 gold lead for Minnesota. A 1 kill lead, the only kill in the game for Minnesota, and a 1 dragon lead for Trine. Trine, it looks like is playing toward the late game, although I'm not sure how well it's going to work for them.
I think they're really banking on Jinx being able to put out a lot of damage and them being able to really shove with the 2 ADCs.
Well, Jinx and Tristana are both going to be very good at pushing towers later on. We saw a Tom Kench ultimate swallowing the Fiora temporarily, though she's simply able to dash out of tower range and not be punished too heavily. Tom Kench dealing a lot of damage to Fiora here.
Yeah.
And it looks like Diana is playing around the top lane as well. I see a key kill here in a moment. And it looks like Diana is attempting to solo Rift Herald. If Minnesota does not respond in time, this will definitely be a powerful play for Trine.
Looks like they may sneak by.
Right. Especially with Tom Kench distracting Fiora from being able to do anything about it. In the bottom lane, seeing farming back and forth, both teams relatively even. Except Jinx, having backed more recently, has more items. But not going to matter. Oh, as she's almost killed, manages to escape barely with the help of Lulu ultimate. And all of their summoner spells, except for Lulu's Flash.
Yep. That cleanse came in handy.
It very much did. We're seeing
I don't think I'm smarter. Oh, what is happening
a
here?
Rift Herald in the middle lane, uh, leading to a fight on Diana. The Orianna ultimate will lock it up. A kill for Minnesota.
Yep.
Another engage here, followed by a flash from Xin Zhao, leading to a kill on Tristana, leaving the current score at 3-0 as far as kills go.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and we're seeing an
Seeing another
in the
engaged
bottom
bot
lane,
lane.
leading to a kill on Jinx, furthering the lead to 4 kills to none for Minnesota, and around a 2,000 gold lead, which is a lot
I will
this
say
early
that-
in the game.
I will say that you were correct about the Aphelios pick. We're seeing it shine a lot more here.
Alright. Well, the lost safety from running Nautilus, or from not having a Nautilus this time, is definitely showing up a lot. In the top lane, we are seeing these two people just hit each other over and over, yet none of their health bars ever seem to change.
Well, that's what top lane is, right?
Truly. A $7 billion esport. And there we have the Fire Dragon. Which,
Well, that means either of us has a, what, 2/3 chance of being correct?
it's definitely a more important dragon than the Cloud Dragon we saw earlier.
Ooh! The kill top lane!
Yes! We saw actual action top lane for the first time.
The Kench.
That is a departure from last game where Minnesota's top laner just sort of ran over the game. It looks like Diana is going to get picked here right as the dragon comes up, which is going to be very unfortunate for Trine. Unless
Yeah.
Jinx ultimate could possibly steal the dragon.
Nope.
Looks like will not. Didn't they already take Cloud?
No. That's the third option between the two that we have chosen.
Okay, okay. Hextech is
Wow, that Orianna's brutal mid lane.
It looks like Trine is just sort of fighting for vision here, but it's going to lead to a kill on the Lulu, quite possibly.
Wait.
Or she manages, yep, just barely to
No,
escape.
she gets away.
Turret plating will
Yeah, that's been what's happening bot lane as of recent.
Definitely a strange choice to fight over vision so hard. A little bit of an overextension.
Mm-hmm.
Mid lane is going much worse for Trine this game than it did last game,
Yep.
as is bot lane. Top lane is doing better,
red team's turret has been destroyed.
and jungle is waiting on a power spike.
Yeah. That's the problem with Diana. You lose a lot of that early game pressure. She's not stellar until she hits 6.
Right, right. Xin Zhao with the 300 gold bounty, leaving an avenue for trying to get back into the game if they manage to pick him off. Alright. Get that off the screen. It looks like both teams are sort of playing around the middle lane here. With little bit more of an emphasis on the top side as the second Rift Herald starts to spawn. Or Trine instead is looking for a pick in the bottom lane. You see a confrontation here. Fiora attempting to turn it around. Very nearly succeeding.
Oop. She gets picked off anyway, though. Looks like they're going to try to make it back top lane, though, with the 3 people up there.
Can they kill the frog? Can anyone? And it looks like they will successfully defeat our catfish overlord. Trine looking to use his opportunity to take a tower in the bottom lane.
For all of our fans at home, we just really like Tom Kench.
Yes, he's just got like a little hat. I love it.
He's a champion relatively infamous for being way too good or way too bad. And either way, it's really funny.
And he's very blobby.
He is.
He's got very round animations.
I like watching him jog.
This is the content people come here to see.
Well, there's 2 of us now. We can banter a little bit.
Is it banter to just talk about how much we love the catfish?
Yeah.
Alright, well, in that altercation, Minnesota got the second Rift Herald. Have to see where they use it. It can take a tower or 2 on its own. And if it's properly defended, take it even further. Trine again fighting over vision, but they don't really necessarily have any business fighting over. And Diana, yeah, surprised by the Thresh hook from the bush. It's not going to turn into anything.
I like watching the Thresh just throw his lantern out. He's done it a couple times, and I think he's just trying to go for baits.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that one.
Hey John, we were both wrong. It's Air Drake.
Right, yes, yes. I think we did talk about that. So Air Drake is one of the ones that generally doesn't matter too much. The soul is some bonus movement speed, which is very much a win more sort of thing. The movement speed doesn't really help you if you're going to lose fights anyway. Minnesota able to get a kill and a tower and a second kill and a major team fight
ultimate.
that they are winning very aggressively, leaving Trine with only 2 players and losing none of theirs, unless Xin Zhao dies here. Except no, it was a bait to get an additional kill onto the Tristana and return to his team
Pulled out by the Thresh.
as they push down a second tower and prepare to take the dragon that has just spawned. So
Things aren't looking up for our heroes. They're not out of this yet.
that is a roughly 7,000 gold lead for Minnesota. 10 kills to 2, 2 dragons to 1, and 4 towers to 1 as well. Objective bounties in full effect. 3 members of Minnesota's team have bounties above 300 gold.
You sound very pessimistic, John.
Well, their way back into this would be to take advantage of all these bounties. And at the moment, it looks like they're going to have a bit of a rough time doing that as well. They have only gotten 2 kills over the course of this entire game. And both of them were on Fiora after she overextended.
Yep.
We can see in the bottom here ward scores. Trine definitely warding a lot less at the moment.
Yep. It's harder to place and take wards when you're behind, so
Of course, of course.
that's to be expected, but they definitely are going to have to fight over ward score at some point. And we're seeing the Magic Griffin is doing a lot better than Little Chimp in terms of taking wards, but for taking and placing wards, but sadly the support can't hold the whole team. Oh,
We might see a kill on Tom Kench in the bottom lane.
I think we're gonna see a kill on Tom Kench in the bottom lane.
And then in the top lane, we will see a kill on Diana,
Whoa.
leaving Trine 2 players down, as Baron is up. And all of
Yep.
Minnesota are already on the top lane, besides Fiora, who does have teleport up. It looks like they're going to get this one practically uncontested. I do think Trine has a little bit of a stronger late game if they manage to make it there, because they have these two hyper carries in Jinx and Tristana, whereas Xin Zhao and Fiora tend to fall off a little bit as the game goes on.
Yeah. They're gonna have to make it there though. Ooh.
This is going to be an exercise in attrition.
It is. They're gonna definitely have to look to play safe, and they're not at a point where they can team fight yet, so be interesting to see how they respond. They are getting a lot of vision out again though. Their jungle's all warded up, so that's good.
Starting trying to pull it back.
Yep.
See an engage in the top lane by Fiora onto Tristana. Well, Tristana just able to jump away.
Yep.
Basically, Minnesota at the moment is looking to disrupt the farm of Trine's players. And a little bit of a cheeky ultimate there from Orianna, sort of a distraction as Xin Zhao engages on the other side
How do
of
you
the
feel
tower.
about Gale Force on Tristana?
It
How do you feel?
it gives safety, but Tristana already
Yeah.
has a lot of safety.
Yeah.
I think the damage from the Kraken Slayer would be possibly a little bit more helpful here. Maybe the safety from the Immortal Shield though, which comes in a form that Tristana doesn't already have access to. Top lane we are seeing Fiora almost solo kill our hero Tom Kench. Although both players able to make it out alive. A reminder that if Trine loses this game, we have lost the match, as the current standings are. Minnesota 1 game up in this best of 3. We're seeing it engaged by the Tom Kench onto the Xin Zhao, who's slightly out of position. Well, it's not going to turn into anything for Trine. And engaged by the Diana on some people who are slightly out of position. It's not going to turn into anything for Trine. We might see a kill here on the Xin Zhao, except he's able to get out with the Thresh Lantern. Tom Kench continuing to try to force a fight, leading to a kill on Tristana. Lulu at very low health. Trine generally running out of resources. It's not looking good.
Whoa.
As Minnesota is now 2 players up. It looks like the game
And
might
looking to
just
close
end
the game
here.
out.
Definitely a lot less close than the first game.
Yeah.
And both teams just sort of going for some last minute plays as
Well.
we wrap up this match on
And that's the game, folks.
this week of CLOL Trine versus University of Minnesota. Well, definitely a rough game.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. Minnesota just played very well.
Definitely a lot for Trine to look to address and improve.